Ma'am fam, the time has come for us to say goodbye. Hello, Ma'am fam. I am at Disney's Animal Kingdom, more specifically in Dinoland U.S.A. because, well, it's gonna be Tyrannosaurus wrecked. Much like the asteroids destroyed the dinosaurs, wrecking balls are coming to this beloved land to turn it into the tropical Americas. And it is time that we pay our respects and bid it a fond farewell. This rumor was true for a long time. People long suspected that Dinoland U.S.A. would go the way of the dinosaurs. And at the last D23, it was confirmed. Parts of this land are closing as early as January 13th of 2025. So I am here to pay tribute to one of my favorite lands in all of Walt Disney World. No, I am not joking. I genuinely love Dinoland U.S.A. And it's not just because I did my college program here many, many years ago, although that nostalgia does help. But I truly think this land is one of the most creative in terms of storytelling, in terms of detail, and I think Dinosaur is one of the best dark rides Disney's ever built. So journey with me today as we go back to the prehistoric times and we explore Dinoland and everything wonderful it has to offer for the last time. Now, I do want to clarify before we get too into this, you don't need to panic quite yet if you haven't been able to say your goodbyes to Dinoland. Like I said, part of the land is closing on January 13th. That's this section of the park, the Chester and Hester's Dino-rama. I'm talking Triceratops Spin, I'm talking the games, I'm talking this whole part of the park. Boneyard, Restaurantosaurus, and most importantly, Dinosaur do not have a closing date yet, but it is like Thanos' snap, inevitable. It is absolutely closing. Dinosaur is absolutely being turned into an Indiana Jones attraction. We just don't have a timeline specifically on that section yet. That said, if you love Dinoland or Dinosaur like I do, I would be trying to ride it one last time as soon as possible because you never know when that meteor is going to strike. Now, let's start with Dinoland U.S.A., a brief history. And before I can even start talking about that, we got to bring up another land that was supposed to be here at Animal Kingdom called Beastly Kingdom. You see, when Disney's Animal Kingdom was supposed to open, they were going to have a land called Beastly Kingdom over where Pandora is today, but what actually opened as Camp Minnie Mickey. And Beastly Kingdom was going to celebrate unicorns and dragons and mythical creatures because the entirety of this park was supposed to celebrate animals of a fantastical nature like those and extinct nature like dinosaurs, as well as real animals that we have obviously all over the park. In fact, they got so far along in developing both of these lands that you can see both a dinosaur and a dragon in the original Animal Kingdom logo, and you can see a dinosaur and a dragon over 2 of the 3 ticket booths at the front of the park. But as it turns out, the budget for housing live animals is pretty expensive, so they found themselves in a little pickle about what to cut. So it became clear, since the other lands of the park had the real animals, that the one land that had to go for budget cuts was Beastly Kingdom or Dinoland U.S.A. So the Imagineers and the creative teams behind those lands started campaigning to then CEO Michael Eisner as to why their land should be the one that gets to stay. And the reason Dinoland U.S.A. won was a few reasons. One, Michael Eisner had seen the success of a little film called Jurassic Park. This is the mid-90s at this point. Jurassic Park not only was a smash hit at the box office, but it boosted Universal Studios down the road with a brand new, very popular attraction, the Jurassic Park River Adventure. Number 2, the Beastly Kingdom team was unwilling to compromise on what they wanted in their land. Sorry, I got distracted because Kevin's here. Because she gets it. She gets that this land's awesome. Canonically true. Kevin would only be in places that are awesome. Anyway, Dinoland's team was willing to compromise on what they had originally designed for the land. For example, there was supposed to be a roller coaster here called the Excavator, and it was going to be over near the Boneyard, and it was supposed to be a rickety one-track roller coaster, a wooden roller coaster that took you around a dino dig. They also were going to have a slow-moving family dark ride. They said, we will scrap the Excavator and we will combine our 2 ideas into one, making a dinosaur-themed thrill ride instead of one thrill ride and one dinosaur-themed family ride. Additionally, they scrapped any concepts of a new ride system and said, we can use the now existing system that was developed for Indiana Jones Adventure at Disneyland, and we can convert that and use it in our dinosaur ride. So ultimately, Dinoland U.S.A. had the best pitch, and Dinoland U.S.A. won and became the land that was actually going to come to fruition here at Animal Kingdom. Now, they did shelve Beastly Kingdom, and it was said that it was going to be an expansion at a later day, and we all know that's not true. Kind of. It did not come to fruition here, but a lot of the creative team was so mad that they left Disney and went to Universal, and they helped open the Lost Continent, a land dedicated to mythical creatures that opened up the next year at Islands of Adventure. Now, for the story of Animal Kingdom, let me first start with a quote by Joe Rohde, who was the head Imagineer for developing Disney's Animal Kingdom. He said that Dinoland is about our American love and fascination with dinosaurs, both as real science as part of our national heritage and as popular cult icons. So dinosaurs feel like an easy fit for a theme park. People love dinosaurs. People have always had a fascination with dinosaurs. It's the reason that movies like Jurassic Park are so successful. But there's a very specific story that lives here in Dinoland, USA. You see, we are in the was once the sleepy county of Diggs County along Route 498, which that's an Easter egg, by the way, because this park opened up in April of 1998, specifically April 22nd, Earth Day of 1998. And for a long time, this was just, again, a quiet, sleepy town where people might stop for gas or a roadside attraction. When one day in 1947, some amateur hunters and fishers discovered a large dinosaur bone. Realizing that this could have significant importance to the scientific community, they reached out to some paleontologists who came to the area and discovered that Diggs County was full of dinosaur bones. I mean, who could have predicted it with a name like Diggs County? So scientists from near and far start using Diggs County as a place of scientific exploration and sharing of their discoveries. They take over a local lodge to be their kind of welcome center and first Dino Institute. They also turn that into a dormitory for their grad students that have to come help them out on their explorations. And the grad students turn it into a restaurant to make a little bit of profit. That's Restaurantosaurus. We'll get more into that in a little bit. Eventually, they raise enough funds and have had enough success that they can build a little bit more sleeker, sophisticated scientific facility called the Dino Institute. That's, of course, what houses Dinosaur. And the local owners of that gas station along Route 498 realize that they can make a little bit of money off of people coming to check out the Dinosaur Institute. They want a little piece of that tourist pie, so they turn their gas station into a dinosaur-themed gift shop and their parking lot into a carnival, which is Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama. So throughout the land, you are going to see all of these different elements of the story being told. You are going to see the order and the scientific method and the uptightness, in a way, of the older generation of scientists. That is going to conflict with the younger generation of scientists that maybe are a little loud, little boisterous, but they also have some good ideas and are oftentimes more correct and more up-to-date on research than their older counterparts. You're gonna see the serious side of dinosaurs and science and history with the Dino Institute and the things they have on display there, compared to the kitschy, whimsical, roadside attraction side of dinosaurs, which you're gonna see at Dino-Rama. In fact, I find myself turning once again to Joe Rohde and a lovely quote from him about this level of detail. He said, "Dinoland is the idea of chaos and order. The front half of Dinoland is just a mess. It looks like a construction site. A lot of the scaffolding that you see out in Dinoland, that's not going away." Who's gonna tell Joe? You know what I mean? That's Dinoland. Construction material, upheaval, dirt, piles of earth, piles of tools. It stands in opposition to the authority and the order and the stuffiness of the Dino Institute. All right, so now that we know the backstory and the history of Dinoland, let us explore and see how that story unfolds itself around us. Now, when you enter Dinoland USA from Discovery Island, the first thing you're gonna come to is this little snack stand right here called Trilobite Snack, which is a fun, hilarious pun because trilobites are a fossilized creature from millions and millions of years ago. Now, first things first, this is where you can get the delicious buffalo chicken chips, an A+ snack, kettle-cooked house-made chips topped with buffalo chicken and ranch and blue cheese, and I truly hope that these do not go away or they get rehoused once this land starts to close. They also have a variety of Dole Whips here, as well as some cocktails. But I think the most important thing about Trilobites is that this land used to be sponsored by McDonald's, and this booth in particular was called Petra Fried. And instead of buffalo chicken chips, you could buy McDonald's French fries, which I would argue is the greatest theme park snack of all time. But sadly, that sponsorship ended. However, this isn't the last time I'm going to talk about McDonald's in this video. And as we work further into the land, you're gonna see a sign welcoming us to Dinoland USA, the friendliest fossils in America, as well as a logo for the Dino Institute. You're also gonna begin to see some of that scaffolding and construction that Joe Rohde mentioned, the chaos part of Dinoland USA. But probably the most iconic thing about this part of the park, or the thing that most people notice, is this huge dinosaur right here. How can you not? This gentle giant right here is a Brachiosaurus, and he stands 52 feet tall and 80 feet long, and is actually a replica from bones that were found in Colorado in 1900, and the original of this dinosaur is at the Field Museum in Chicago. And the Brachiosaurus stands right here atop the Olden Gate Bridge, which is obviously another hilarious pun. And the plaque naming this bridge also encourages you to get a better look at this dinosaur from the boneyard, which we're gonna do in a second. But the last thing I wanna point out is around Dinoland, you're gonna see signs for Donald's Dino Bash, which is the celebration happening in Dinoland. It's been happening for many years at this point, but it is Donald's party because Donald found out that dinosaurs and birds are very closely related, and he loved that, so he decided to throw a party, which is why you can meet Donald, Daisy, you used to be able to meet Scrooge McDuck and Launchpad McQuack here in Dinoland because it's all about Donald celebrating his newfound long-lost relatives. And speaking of the Boneyard, the Fossil Fun site, it is a dinosaur excavation site themed play area for kids. It's actually half an acre. It is a huge spot for your kids or adults, you're welcome to run around and explore and unearth some scientific dinosaur-themed discoveries. It is an opening day attraction, and one of my favorite details right here is the Boneyard sign. It's actually on a replica of the shoulder of a Stegosaurus, and it does point out that it was established in 1947, which is again the year that dinosaur bones were discovered in Diggs County. And again, this play area is huge. There's actually a map right over here that shows you how big it is. There are all different things for your kids to experience and touch and play with, and honestly, parents, this is a good time for you to sit down and relax a little bit while they burn off some energy. But you know what? I am a child at heart, and I probably can't fit on all the slides, but you know what? Let's go see what we can find. Now, first things first, this is a little behind the scenes fun fact. When I worked in Dinoland, the break room was literally right behind that wall, and the whole time, all you could hear were dinosaur roars because there's these dinosaur footprints on the ground, and when you step on them, they roar. So it was a really cool break room that definitely wasn't interrupted by dinosaur for some time. But more importantly, here's an actual Easter egg. If you look around the dig site, you're gonna see all these different bones, and pretty much near all of them, you're gonna find a bulletin board with notes from both the paleontologists as well as those grad students describing what they've seen. You're gonna see drawings of the different bones, paintings of the different bones, and notes that are based on what they're seeing with their scientific conclusions or questions. And as you read them, pay attention to who's talking, because this is where that generational conflict I was talking about comes into play. Gonna once again turn to the good word of Joe Rohde, who said, the generational conflict between the academic-minded professors, Dr. Bernard Dunn, Dr. Shirley Wu, Dr. Eugene McGee, and Dr. Tina Lee of the Fictional Dino Institute, with their traditional but often outdated information about dinosaurs, compete with the youthful graduate students, including the newest interns, Mark Rios, Jenny Weinstein, and Sam Gonzalez, with a sometimes more radical perspective based on recent research, is in evidence all throughout the area. So for example, here on the Triceratops page, you can see that one of the interns, Sam Gonzalez, filled this out, and he talked about how when he found these two Triceratops locked together with their horns interconnected, he said that he concludes that there's a good chance these animals could have gotten in a fight based on what happens today with animals like bighorn sheep and elk and their horns caught together. Meanwhile, Dr. Dunn says intriguing but absolutely unsubstantiated. So you're gonna again see that kind of conflict in between the two groups in all of these different billboards. And again, everything you see on those scientific forums can be actually seen in the land, like here's those two Triceratops heads locked together. Another cool detail in here is that if you look at the way the Earth around you is built, it's supposed to mimic the different strata of the Earth's crust and layers. And over on this chalkboard, you can see that they're actually breaking down the different layers of strata with soil type, plant fossils, evidence of weather, small animal remains, and you can find these things when you look through the different layers of rock. Continuing to explore, and this is what they mean when they say you can get a better view of this Brachiosaurus from the boneyard, because look how close we're getting. We get to walk through him. Whee! Walking through a dinosaur. And once you make it across the bridge and down on ground level again, you are at the Mammoth dig site, which I'm not showing you because, oh wait, look, a hidden Mickey, the fan and the two hard hats right there. But I'm not showing you the Mammoth dig site right now because there's lots and lots of kids playing on it. But it is a mammoth that you can unearth, and it has special sands they're using called Texas grit. So I'll see if I can get a shot in a second. But in the meantime, you can see some information about mammoths, which I, for some reason, find particularly interesting. And you can see this is what the mammoth looks like in the dig site and how you can help dig him up. And again, you're gonna see the notes between the different groups of people. Last thing I'll point out here in the boneyard is this area. You can't actually access it, but you can see that this is where all of the scientists have been hanging out. And the funny detail that I love right here is this chart, I guess, of funny names that definitely the grad students have come up with for all the different paleontologists. Example, the species Dunicus strictius, location in our face, common name Bernard Dunn, characteristics old school. That's Dr. Dunn. But you can also see that they are messing with themselves, like Trivialia Dinosauria Encyclopedias. Location above it all. Common name San Gonzalez. Characteristics computer brain. It's just that level of attention to detail that makes me love Dinoland so much, because like this boneyard is packed right now. No one else cares that this is here. No one else is even noticing that this is here. This is an original land. This is not a land inspired by IP, but there are so many details and Easter eggs everywhere to tell you the story that this is just one example of why this land, I think, is one of the most brilliantly themed in all of Disney. Now I gotta get back down and out of here, and obviously I'm not taking the stairs, so let's see how this works. This goes way faster than I thought it would. Right across from the boneyard, there's also this very fun bulletin board that if you have a time to kind of stop and take a look at it, you're gonna notice a lot of very funny things. You're gonna see an intro to the new interns from Dr. Dunn. You're gonna see some get to know you fun facts from the different doctors and interns. You're gonna see different funny drawings and pictures of them digging up things. But I think my favorite thing is this hand-drawn map of Dinoland, and it is a map of Dinoland, but as it was opening day. So you're gonna see that countdown to extinction, that's the original name of Dinosaur. It's also got things like Dinosaur Jubilee and the Fossil Preparation Lab, which are extinct attractions. Just a little detail I like to point out. Continuing along our way and in our story of Dinoland USA, there is one thing I must mourn. You may remember that there was a crocodile that lived here. And Marley, that was the crocodile's name, is gone. Now, I was told that Marley moved because they didn't want to stress Marley out with all of the construction and the inevitability of the fact that Marley would have no place in the tropical Americas. So Marley the crocodile, who's been here since opening day, no longer lives here at Disney's Animal Kingdom. And I'm sad I didn't know the last time I saw him was gonna be the last time I saw him. Now, one thing I will say is I also had a little panic when I saw that Dino Bite Snacks was also closed, because this is where my favorite sweet treat in all of Animal Kingdom was housed, the hand-scooped chocolate chip cookie ice cream sandwich. And I thought, surely they're gonna reopen once the holiday stuff starts. And they have. So if you're watching this, I believe it's already reopened. Maybe they even have a seasonal treat here. But Dino Bite Snacks does have my favorite treat, and I hope they relocate that as well. Also, the fact that Dino Bite Snacks has shark jaws that they must have discovered in their digs on it just makes me love it even more. But Dino Bite Snacks is a good lead-in to our next location, which is Restaurantosaurus. Now, back to that McDonald's connection, this actually used to serve McDonald's burgers and fries. It no longer does since that partnership has ended, but it does serve burgers, chicken tenders, chili dogs, kind of your classic theme park fare. We're gonna be honest here, not the best when it comes to food. But it is the best when it comes to theming. You see, Restaurantosaurus was originally like an amateur fishing lodge, hunting lodge for the locals of Diggs County, but when all the scientists and paleontologists came in, they needed headquarters, so they purchased it, and they turned it into kind of a makeshift museum visitor center for the folks coming to Diggs County. They also turned it into the dormitory for all those grad students. So you're gonna see several different stories playing out here, both, again, that museum section as well as evidence that the grad students live here and play here. And you can see a lot of that right here on the outside of the restaurant. You can see that there's been some grad students sitting up on the rooftop having some cold brewskis, and they've left their shoes, they've left cans, they've got their laundry hanging out to dry here on the upstairs area, they've got a basketball hoop, and they've got my favorite thing. They're playing some kind of game where they're shooting arrows at the target on the back of the water tower, and they're using this pulley system to get back to them sitting on top of the roof so that they can pull their arrows and their bucket back. Additionally, the name of Restaurantosaurus is a joke in of itself. Again, these are grad students. They realize that they're going to need a little bit of money while they're living out here because more than likely as interns, they're not making any. So they decided to start selling burgers and treats to the people coming to Diggs County, and they made this a restaurant. But Osaurus is a joke that's carried on throughout the land because, again, these are the younger grad students that don't take things quite so seriously. So you're going to see they've more or less vandalized a lot of things around Dinoland by adding Osaurus on the end and kind of making it a joke. So it's likely that the old school paleontologists put the restaurant sign up, but it was the interns who put the Osaurus sign up. So when you step into Restaurantosaurus, there are a couple different themes that you're gonna see. This kind of central section, as well as one of the main rooms, is kind of the what's left of the original visitor center and museum of Diggs County. So you're gonna see different dinosaur findings that they have found here in Diggs County. You're gonna see the fact that this was an old school hunting lodge by the fact that there's antlers on the wall, but the animal heads have been replaced with dinosaur heads on the wall. Again, fossils that they found, such as that pterodactyl right there, as well as other articles and paintings showing the age of the dinosaurs. Couple specifics I want to point out, though. This painting right here was painted by Joe Rohde himself, who shared on his Instagram that part of the reason he was painting things and that other Imagineers were painting large paintings like this was that they were on such a tight budget that the more things they could create from scratch themselves, the less money they had to spend. My other favorite Easter egg in this room is over on the other side of the wall there near the registers. There is dinosaur artwork that is from the Rite of Spring section of Fantasia. Bulletin boards are always such a treasure trove of storytelling when you're in a theme park, and this one is no different. Again, we're seeing the difference between the older generation and the newer generation. The older generation is saving things like welcome new interns, lecture tonight, different copies of different news articles about dinosaurs and dinosaurs in the news. And the younger interns are posting things like we're having a Hawaiian shirt day tomorrow, or who wants to road trip to the beach and play volleyball. Additionally, you're going to notice that some of the news articles feature mammoth news, and it's a mammoth hit. The Time rover stuns the scientific community. That is, of course, right next door at Dinosaur. You're also going to notice this magazine from Discover and who it's addressed to, Dr. Helen Marsh, which is the intro character before you meet Dr. Grant Seeker in the Dinosaur pre-show. Now, off the main area where you can order and pick up your food, there are two big dining rooms. And this is the one that, if you're looking at the ordering stations, is to your right-hand side. And this one has a little bit different of a theme. This one is more where they actually live and work. You're still gonna see fossils and maps and charts and findings of different dinosaurs, but you're also gonna see things like bunk room, Osaurus, which is where the grad students actually live. I personally like the giant prehistoric alligator head, as well as the boots that clearly got stuck in cement on display in this room. And as you move further into the space, you can actually see that they are staying on the second story of Restaurantosaurus. You can see their different bunks and their corners. You can see movie posters and pictures, books, desks, beds, laundry, all of the evidence that lets us know that these grad students are bunking up here at the top of Restaurantosaurus. I love this little detail of the little dinosaur-shaped comb holders. And I'm not gonna tell you that they're supposed to be Barney and BJ from Barney, but like, canonically in my head they are. Now, if you really want evidence that students are living here and causing ruckus, let's head into the hip joint, which is a funny name and a funny sign, and it's also where all of these students are having fun and shenanigans. You can see they turned it into a badminton court in here, and you can see all the shuttlecocks stuck in there. And if you look around, you can also see housemate awards for all the shenanigans that different years of interns have been up to, like the 1998 Zip Award for having dug through the summer and found nothing. That went to Bob Allen. Poor Bob. You can see another year, 1976, the Doug Award went through finding absolutely nothing again. Oh, it looks like the Doug Award. Zip. Oh, I get it. Zip, like zilch, like nothing. Hilarious. Additionally, you can see all these different painted rocks throughout here. That's actually a tradition of the grad students, and that's to bring a rock from your home, paint it, and leave it here so that you get to bring a little bit of digging from home to your home away from home when you are living in Diggs County. They've also got things like the Bonehead Award, the Golden Boot Award, as well as old school posters for different dinosaur-themed attractions and dinosaur-themed movies throughout pop culture. Also, I remember eating in this booth as a kid. A core memory for me, actually I have two core memories eating in this specific room, but one was being able to eat at the camper restaurant because they took an old school camper and transformed it into being part of the Restaurantosaurus. And two, does anyone else remember when this was the character dining in Animal Kingdom? It was Donald's Breakfastosaurus, and I remember sitting in this very room the first time I came to Animal Kingdom and having breakfast with Donald and his friends. Two more discoveries I've made. One, I'm obsessed with this setup of dinosaurs playing volleyball. And two, luckily they don't just have the Zip Award, but they also give out the Golden Trowel Award, and that's whoever discovers the most each summer. So that's nice at least. Now working my way across the restaurant to the other main dining area to the left of the registers, you're gonna continue that first rooms theme of it being the Visitor Center Museum, former hunting lodge, and you're gonna see different books, fossils they have dug up, pictures of them digging up things, charts, and other dinosaur knickknacks and such. My personal favorite things, though, gotta point a few things out. For one, if you were impressed with the first Joe Rohde painting I showed you, check this one out. Yes, that gigantic painting on the wall was hand-painted by Joe Rohde. On his Instagram, he explains that the painting was supposed to be old school, like a pre-World War II painting, and that it was supposed to be, it reminded him of the great paleo illustrator Charles Knight. He said that he is compulsively more colorful, though, than Charles Knight ever was, and he also points out that this is one of the last things he ever got to paint as an actual painter as he continued to rise in the ranks of Imagineering. And as you know, once you move up, you kind of delegate that sort of work. But he said it was impossible for him to continue to devote this much time to a single piece of art, but that this one is very close to his heart. So I love that we have a Joe Rohde original here, and I hope he hangs it up in his house, honestly. Underneath the Joe Rohde painting, you're going to see an oil painting of a suave-looking gentleman. That is Clarence P. Wilkerson. He was the major benefactor that supported the Dino Institute and all of their findings. And speaking of important benefactors and gentlemen, on the other side of the wall, you've got a couple different photographs, including one of Walt Disney with some animatronics from the 6465 New York World's Fair attraction, the Ford Magic Skyway, which featured a section where the cars drove through a dinosaur diorama called Primeval World, and you could still see those dinosaurs as part of the train path in Disneyland. We also have copies of concept art from Fantasia, again, that Rite of Spring sequence, so that's a fun throwback to some old school animation. And if you want to know what Chester and Hester look like, the owners of the Dinorama, we're going to talk about them more in a moment, you can see a lovely portrait of the two of them on the wall. I have now moved into the next section of the Restaurantosaurus, the Vehicle Maintenanceosaurus, which is an expansion when the Dino Institute area was getting too big. They needed a place to store some of the things that they're doctoring up their vehicles. And again, those pesky grad students, they're always having a good time. They're always being silly and fun. And I love that they have done, out of motor oil, these funny hand-drawn dinosaur paintings along the wall. My favorite detail in here, though, ties to the gas station that we're going to see in a little bit. And you're going to see that they have some oil cans in here for Sinclair Motor Oil. Sinclair Motor Oil, you probably know the logo. It's that green brontosaurus. That was a very real oil and gas station company in the United States. It was founded in 1916 by Harry F. Sinclair. And it kind of goes with the roadside attraction story of Dinoland, because that dinosaur logo sign was definitely a fixture of, back in the Great American Highway days. Also, as a bonus fun fact, if anyone remembers the 1990s ABC comedy Dinosaurs, where the definitely not scary dinosaur family was kind of a spoof on a classic family trope sitcom, their last name was Sinclair as a nod to the oil and the logo. The final section of the restaurant is actually its own thing called the Restaurantosaurus Lounge, and they turned it into a little walk-up bar where you could get a few dinosaur-themed cocktails and mocktails. But it continues the theme of having areas for the dino students to uncover things, dig things up. I love this sign right here, Geniosaurus, please catalog these. And again, I love the house-made drawings from the different grad students. Right across from Restaurantosaurus, you have the Cretaceous Trail, which when it opened was a walking trail where you could see life-size sculptures of dinosaurs amongst plants that were also alive, or this species of plant were also alive in the dinosaur age 65 million years ago. And again, Again, attention to detail. If you read down here, the Cretaceous Trail maintenance is made possible by the donations from the Dino Institute. It's dedicated to all of those who are part of the Dino Institute legacy. Now, as you can imagine, that wasn't the most popular or exciting attraction, so they've zhuzhed it over the years. For starters, they swapped out some of the informational signs to include Ludwig von Drake to teach us a little bit more about how dinosaurs and birds are closely related. And they also added some of the characters. Daisy Duck is right here, and you can see her design studio. She is the fashionista and costume designer who designed all the costumes for herself, Donald, Goofy, Pluto, but not the two characters we're gonna go see, because my favorite meet and greet, definitely in this park, maybe ever in Disney World, is along this path as well. But beware, I hear they're ferocious. Look at Miss Daisy's bulletin board. It's so cute. You can see different fabric swatches, and these are the fabrics that the different characters wear. You can see her little notes like, hat needs more feathers for Donald, add logo to the sash. And then you can also see Donald supporting his queen. Daisy, great job. I'm so proud of you. Oh, so cute. Also, look, she put on the scarf, Hidden Mickey, and if you go look at the dinosaur scarf, there truly is one, as well as these pterodactyl sunglasses that you can see Daisy wearing. Hi, Dale. Hi, Chip. Hi, Dale. Hi, Chip. Love your outfit so much. How should we pose for our picture? Like dinosaurs? Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
Thank you. Can I get a group hug with you guys too? Is that okay? Thank you, Chip. Thank you, Dale. I love you. I needed these hugs today. You know, it's a day. I knew this would happen at some point during this video, which, like, probably dramatic, but I really hope Chipmunkasauruses live on, because that's the cutest costume ever. Sorry, in the real world, it's a very stressful day, and I'm shooting this video to distract myself, and I didn't realize a hug for Chipmunkasauruses would be, whew. Okay, let's go talk about Dinosaur. And with that, we have made it finally to the Dino Institute, which I have talked about over and over again in this video, or should I say, the second iteration of the Dino Institute. But I'm gonna leave the Dino Institute on hold for just a little bit longer, because before we can talk about Dinosaur more, we gotta talk about Dino-Su. This is this Tyrannosaurus Rex right here, and they are a replica of the most complete Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton ever found. The real one is at the Field Museum in Chicago, and it is a 90% complete T-Rex skeleton, which is amazing. But what's more amazing than that, possibly, is the fact that you could have seen the real Dino-Su being excavated right here in Animal Kingdom. You see, the real Dino-Su was initially discovered in 1990 in South Dakota. And in 1997, the Field Museum in Chicago paid a record $8.7 million for these bones so that they could put it on display at their museum. Now, part of those funds were donations by McDonald's and the Walt Disney Company. The Walt Disney Company had some of the bones that were still being assembled flown here, and they were on display at an exhibit called the Fossil Preparation Lab, where you could watch real paleontologists unearthing sections of Dino-Su and putting it together with like a scientist version of crazy glue to get it ready for the big museum exhibit. And people, because it's Walt Disney World, assumed it was like fake paleontologists on display unearthing like fake dinosaur bones, but no, it was real paleontologists really putting together Dino-Su. Completed Dino-Su weighs 7 tons and measures 42 feet in length, making her not only the most complete, but also the largest T-Rex skeleton ever found. In 1999, shortly after Animal Kingdom opened, they completed Dino-Su, not only here, but in other preparation areas around the country, and all these pieces were carefully shipped to Chicago for the Field Museum to display, where you can still see Dino-Su today. I would like to see them one day. I should get to Chicago. But with that, the Fossil Preparation Lab was closed. However, we do have one of the only replicas of Dino-Su here in the courtyard. If you were here at the early days of Dinoland, please let me know if you saw Dino-Su being excavated, because I think that is so cool that that's something you could have seen. Now, one additional unique thing about Su here is that it's a Tyrannosaurus Rex, which, you know, doesn't seem that unique considering it's one of the most popular dinosaurs of all time, one of the most well-known species of dinosaur. But it is unique to being here in Dinoland, and specifically right outside this attraction, because the main scary big dinosaur here, not a T-Rex, it's a Carnotaurus. Going back to what I said earlier about Jurassic Park, that of course is the most successful dinosaur movie of all time, and that franchise has proven to do very, very well at Universal. So in order to differentiate themselves and not be called Jurassic Park, they focused on a different carnivore dinosaur in this attraction, which is, again, the Carnotaurus. If you rode this attraction when it first opened, it was called Countdown to Extinction, and it was a slightly different attraction than it is now. For starters, this was an iguanodon ride out here. This was a Styracosaurus, which is allegedly Joe Rohde's favorite dinosaur. Now, I mentioned earlier that one of the reasons that Dinoland and Countdown to Extinction were greenlit as opposed to Beastly Kingdom is the fact that they didn't have to invent any ride technology for this. They were able to use the same vehicle system as Indiana Jones and Disneyland. But that doesn't mean they didn't create a lot of incredible things for this attraction. For starters, these dinosaurs are some of the largest animatronics Disney's ever built, with some of the rubber skins weighing over 500 pounds. Some of them are also using 3,000 pounds per square inches of hydraulic pressure to make them move in the way they do. It also has one of the largest smoke machines ever used in a theme park. Now, one thing I am bummed about for this attraction is the fact that they did cut an effect that was going to be used at the end of the ride. They were going to use Pepper's Ghost, which is the same effect that makes the ghost appear in the ballroom scene of Haunted Mansion, to make the iguanodon appear as if he was in the Dino Institute at the end. Because if you've ridden this attraction, you know that you do successfully bring back a dinosaur to present day. Unfortunately, budget cuts didn't allow that to happen, so then they just added in that security footage of the iguanodon walking around the Dino Institute. But still, this was a very expensive attraction to build, with the rumored cost being anywhere between $40 and $60 million. It was changed from Countdown to Extinction to Dinosaur in 2000 to promote the animated film of the same name. That's why we changed this guy right out here to Aladar the Iguanodon, the star of that movie. They added in footage from Dinosaur into the pre-show to help connect guests to it, but that's not all. They had gotten feedback that this attraction was too loud, too scary, and too jerky to be a family attraction in a family park, so they decided to tone down some of the effects. They made the ride movement less intense, they made it a little bit lighter, and turned down the audio. They also swapped out the final scene, which is now a Carnotaurus jumping at your car. It used to be an asteroid, but they wanted to really hammer home these scenes from Dinosaur that featured the Carnotaurus. Now, these changes weren't exactly welcomed by a lot of guests. The people that said the previous version, the Countdown to Extinction version, was too scary for their kids, still said it was too scary for their kids, and then the fans of the thrill ride were mad that they got it toned down. I know I rode Countdown to Extinction, but I don't really remember it, so if you do, please let me know down in the comments. But for the majority of the time, this ride has been Dinosaur. Now again, in our story, we are headed to the new Dino Institute, which opened up on Earth Day 1978, where previously they had kind of classic museum exhibits, different fossils and dioramas and things you'd see in any number of museums around the world about dinosaurs. But they were doing not great when it came to money, so they hired famed Dr. Helen Marsh, who was known for her fundraising abilities, to come help out the Dino Institute and boost up a little more tourism dollars so they could continue their work. Dr. Marsh finds out about this new technology called CTX rover technology, CTX standing for Countdown to Extinction, little Easter egg there, and she purchases it, telling everyone that they are now going to be able to make guests pay to time travel, which, let's be honest, my toxic trait is that I would pay money to time travel, even though I've seen 1,000 movies about why that's a terrible idea. I've made it inside the dinosaur queue, and what's actually really cool is that this is real stuff. These are real dinosaur fossils. The things that are behind glass in here are actual dinosaur fossils that Disney has partnered with different museums and institutions to have on display here. So when you're looking at, as Dr. Marsh calls it, the old school displays, those are real dinosaur displays. So, like, this isn't, because, you know, I could touch it, but any of these things right in here, these are actual dinosaur fossils that have been found all over the world. As we move our way through the queue, you've got this gigantic Carnotaurus skeleton right here, just kind of little foreshadowing of what's to come, as well as a little graph that Bill Nye will narrate here about the meteor striking the Earth, and some very sad depictions of what that looked like. You're also going to see the walls in here are the different layers like we saw in the boneyard.
I'm in the corner. Hello. I'm Dr. Marsh, director of the Dino Institute, and I hope you enjoyed those quaint exhibits in the old wing. That the future is truly in the past.
Hello there. Welcome to our little trans-dimensional joyride, folks. I'm Dr. Seeker, your friendly controller, and a heck of a paleontologist, if I do say so myself. If I can bring you back from the Cretaceous period, it stands to reason that I can bring back a live dinosaur with you. And not just any dinosaur. Take a look at this guy. He's an iguanodon, and I'm certain that he is the key to understanding these magnificent creatures. Right now, our dino should be about here, at the very end of the Cretaceous period. That's where you're going today.
I've arrived, it seems, just in time to correct a little misstatement.
Dr. Marsh.
That is impossibly close to the giant asteroid impact that destroyed most life forms on Earth. Our tools are designed to take you to the early Cretaceous period.
See? Securely locked. Access denied.
Continue.
Of course. Oh, and one more thing. Those locked coordinates? We're in. Now, here's the drill. You follow the homing signal to the iguanodon. Then I'll enlarge the transport field and boom, you're back with one additional passenger extra large. And don't worry about that asteroid. You'll be in and out of there before it even breaks the atmosphere. Trust me, what could go wrong?
Now, I don't want to be biased, but I do think the Dinosaur pre-show is probably the best pre-show of all time. Let the record reflect, there were very few people in the pre-show, a shame. And I was in the corner where no one was paying attention to my mouthing of the pre-show, and I wasn't saying it out loud. Y'all know that's one of my pet peeves, is when people very loudly say, like, all the Haunted Mansion spiel. Anyway, Dr. Seeker said that it should be fine, and whilst I've been on this ride 1 million times and things don't always turn out the way they're supposed to, I have a feeling this time it'll be okay. We are here to load into our transports, and I want to point out one of my favorite Easter eggs ever, and that's these red, yellow, and white pipes. And if you notice there's some writing on them, those are actually scientific formulas. For what, you may ask, or maybe you already know? Well, remember that this land was once sponsored by McDonald's, so those are the actual scientific formulas for ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise, because Imagineers are geniuses. There's another good Easter egg on the wall straight ahead of you. It says Sector CTXWDIAK98. That stands for Countdown to Extinction, Walt Disney Imagineering, Animal Kingdom, 98, the year the park opened.
Time travel commencing in T-minus 10 seconds and counting.
We've got to get in, grab the iguanodon, and get out before that asteroid hits. Let's roll! Okay, now, let's go get that dino. Computer, what are you tracking?
Styracosaurus.
Not our dino.
Oleoramus.
Time to get serious. Locking autopilot on homing signal now! Identify!
Carnotaurus.
Definitely not our dino. Go, go, go! Still not our dino, but at least this one's a vegetarian. Computer, now what?
Carnotaurus.
That's it! Abort mission! Abort! Abort!
Iguanodon.
Forget it! Get them out now!
Thank you!
Asteroid impact.
Brace yourself! This is it! They're not gonna make it! They're not gonna make it!
Y'all, dreams come true at Dinosaur. I asked if I could wait and sit in the front so that I could film and have the best view from the front, and the cast member was like, sure. And then I guess it was just the timing of like the pre-shows dumping. I got my own vehicle. A literal dream. I got to thank the Iguanodon a little louder than normal because no one was around. What a dream. All right, we have survived. We have made it back with the Iguanodon on the security footage right here. We have another representation of mammoths, which I obviously love. I've actually never stood and watched that security footage for a long time, and it's pretty funny because one, there's a big hole in the wall where clearly the dinosaur came through, and then the dinosaur's just walking around, and you can see Dr. Marsh being upset with the giant hole, and then you can see Dr. Seeker like trying to play it cool, like he's not looking for a dinosaur walking the halls. Classic. And now we find ourselves in the Dino Institute gift shop, a classy museum gift shop. I'm sure you've all been in a similar one. Keep this in mind for the contrast from the next gift shop we're gonna look at. But I wanna draw your attention to this guy. He's like a large turtle-like creature. I don't remember the scientific name, but we're gonna use him as a segue as we head to the last section of Dinoland, Dino-Rama. Now, Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama is not an original section of the park. Primeval Whirl, may it rest in pieces, and Triceratops Spin were not here when the park opened. Originally in this area, there was an attraction called the Dinosaur Jubilee, which had some makeshift tents and then large bones and fossils on display, including that big turtle guy that we saw, as well as the Triceratop head over in the Wilderness Explorer booth near Dino Bite Snack. Now, if you want to get a good look at what the Dinosaur Jubilee was like, then may I suggest watching the Disney Sing-Along Songs video, Flick's Musical Adventure at Disney's Animal Kingdom, because it's largely featured in the dinosaur song. The Dinosaur Jubilee didn't last very long. It was, again, opening day attraction. It closed in December of 2000. And in 2002, Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama, as we know it, opened, featuring Triceratops Spin and Primeval Whirl. And, fun fact, this is where I did my college program on those two attractions. Chester and Hester's Dinosaur Treasures, however, did exist the whole time because remember, they're trying to capitalize on the dinosaur visitors and tourists, and they transformed their gas station into, well, the complete opposite vibe of the Dino Institute gift shop. But you can still see the gas station pumps both inside the shop here and on the side of the building. And if this shop isn't giving kitschy roadside stand, I don't know what is. I particularly like this diorama right here with the lava and the volcano. You can see Chester and Hester looking lovely in that photo again here if you forgot what they looked like from Restaurantosaurus. And then you've just got like dinosaur knickknacks everywhere. Dinosaur pictures, dinosaur maps, dinosaur drawings, dinosaur plastic figurines, blow-up dinosaurs, every kind of dinosaur you can imagine. Along with another Sinclair gasoline Easter egg and some parts left over from when this was definitely a gas station. You've got the big Welcome to Diggs County billboard here, where fossils are our way of life. And it has delightful illustrations of the different sections we've talked about today here in Dinoland. You can see the Dino Institute, you can see Chester and Hester's Dino-Rama, and you can see the Boneyard, all beautifully illustrated right there. And then right here, we've got a more specific billboard for the Dino Institute, advertising the different things you might be able to do there, including Adventure into the Past in Dinosaur, Discover Sue, the world-famous T-Rex, as well as explore the Boneyard and the Cretaceous Trail. You've got an illustration of Dinosaur, and then you've got, well, it clearly was gonna say some other stuff, but in true Dinoland chaos fashion, Chester and Hester have slapped their own dinosaur drawing on top of the more informational parts of the billboard because they're trying to lure you over to their street carnival. And you know what, it worked. We're going there now. Gonna stop for a few little Easter eggs though before we really get into the carnival parking lot. Starting right here with this dinosaur statue that was actually constructed live on stage when Dinoland was opening. The artist was working on it as guests could watch, and he was building this statue out of different rocks, jewels, and things he found, doing a kind of conservation piece, if you will. And legend has it that a cast member said, hey, put this on your statue, and gave him what is possibly the tiniest hidden Mickey in Disney World. If you look on his humps right here, there's this one that's got a white shell on the top. There's a teeny tiny gold Mickey Mouse, and that's actually the 1-year service pin that cast members get when they've worked here for a full year. There's also a much more obvious hidden Mickey right here in the cement. And this is legend from when I worked in Dinoland, but it's one of my favorite things ever, so I must share this tale. And if you look at this right here, it doesn't look like anything, but it is something. If you look at it, with this being ears, this being a head, this being a tush, and those being feet, it could be interpreted as an elephant flying away from us, as if I was watching Dumbo flying away from me. And you probably know I'm standing right across from Triceratops Spin, which is essentially just Dumbo with dinosaurs. So the legend is that allegedly that's Dumbo telling T-Spin to kiss it. Believe it if you want. I've never read that posted anywhere, but I was taught that when I worked here as a cast member, and I think that is too much like a Dumbo flying away for it to not be true, but really what you'd like. Now again, we've made it into the carnival section here where you've got Triceratops Spin, and formerly you had Primeval Whirl, which was a cat and mouse style coaster, and it looked really rickety and like a carnival, but it was a little more intense, and it actually had a higher height requirement than Expedition Everest, which was really fun to explain to guests when you worked at this attraction and they'd yell at you because their kids were tall enough to ride Everest, but not this little silly kids carnival ride. And I had to explain that it's actually about how the harness fits, not how intense the ride is. Anyway, you've also got these fun carnival games, which honestly, for a long time in life, I thought were kind of silly. I was like, who's paying to play these games for generic plushes when you're at Disney World? There's so many better things to spend your money on. But then they changed the plushes to be different dinosaurs from the land. And suddenly, I felt these were the most important thing you could do in Animal Kingdom. So we're gonna play some games right now, see if I can win. I really want the Cementosaurus, which is the green dinosaur that mimics this beauty right here. But I will settle for a Triceratops. I love Mickey and Minnie. They have cute Dino Institute shirts on, but I would prefer a dinosaur. So let's see what I can do. Okay, the game tickets are $6 each. I feel like this one I will do terribly at, the Comet Crasher one, but I was told in order to get the big prizes at these ones, they need 8 people. I don't foresee that happening. I guess I could try basketball. Let's start. I bought a few tickets, so I'm not athletic even a little bit, but let's try basketball to start, and then I'll try the Comet thing. I didn't win this, but the lady next to me was really good, so she won it for me, and I gave her the ticket. I'm gonna try the Comet Crasher now. Okay, I won Mickey now too. He's also cute wearing his Dino Institute shirt, but I really want Cementosaurus. I'm gonna try one more time. I now have 2 of each, so I guess I should figure out what to do with these, but it's not going well for my quest for the Cementosaurus.
Oh!
Oh no, oh no. Oh. I'm getting too stressed. Sadly, I have to give up my Cementosaurus dream because I do want to ride Triceratops Spin one more time, and I'm running out of park time. Triceratops Spin is precisely Dumbo with dinosaurs, no height requirement, cute litter spinner family attraction. While it's probably no one, well, maybe kids' favorite rides, it does serve a purpose because it's one of the only attractions in this park that doesn't have a height requirement. It's a great thing for your kids to do while older kids are doing Dinosaur or Everest. And for me, it's just nostalgic. I know they're replacing it with a cool carousel, but I'll miss it. I didn't expect to get teary on Triceratops Spin, but here we are. I thought it would be Dinosaur that got me, but I think it's because I don't know when Dinosaur is closing. I think we have a little more time with Dinosaur, but that might be the last time I ever ride that. And that, I know change is good in the parks, but I have a lot of love for this land, so. Well, friends, that is a wrap on my tribute to Dinoland U.S.A. I know that it is an unpopular opinion to love this land as much as I do, but I can't help it. I have not only a lot of nostalgia and love for this land. I started my Disney career here, and without my Disney career, I would certainly not have this one that I get to have now. I met some of my best friends working in this land. One of my dearest friends was in my wedding. I was in his wedding. We were CP college interns together right here at Primeval Whirl and Triceratops Spin. I met some of the managers that changed my life and inspired me right here. So not to mention the fact that there is so much story, there's so much lore, there's so much detail and originality in this land that I don't think we always see. It is nice that there is a land dedicated to non-IP, and it's going away for IP. And I know Encanto will be amazing, I know Indiana Jones will be amazing, but I will really miss Dinoland. So I hope you had fun following along. I hope maybe you learned something and maybe gained a little more appreciation for this land. Let me know if you love Dinoland or if you're ready to see what's next. And in the meantime, friends, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, follow us on social, Come hang out with the Man Family Discord. And until next time, friends, I'm Molly, and it has been Dynamite. And as Chester and Hester Stein say, see you real soon. I'm gonna go try to win that dinosaur again.